The Yakovlev Yak-130 was predominantly perceived as an advanced jet trainer for the majority of its service life. It served as a transitional vehicle between basic pilot training and frontline fighters, including the Su-30, Su-35, and eventually the Su-57. The twin-engine aircraft was never intended to become a key participant in one of the largest air conflicts in the Middle East. It was designed to replicate the flight characteristics of contemporary combat aircraft while maintaining low operating costs. Today, we are diving deep into how this humble trainer unexpectedly ended up flying actual combat operations in the middle of a massive air war. We will break down the surprising tactics, the weapon configurations, and the real reason why these jets managed to survive intense airstrikes. Make sure to watch till the end, because we are also looking at the brand new combat variant that just took to the skies. So stick around. However, the Yak-130's reputation was significantly altered by the events of 2026. Iranian commanders were compelled to use every available military asset in order to protect the country's airspace following the onset of large-scale hostilities between Iran and Israel and the United States. The Yak-130s, which were manufactured in Russia, were among the aircraft that were originally acquired to prepare Iranian pilots with the Su-35 for future operations. These aircraft were promptly deployed to operational air defense duties in the vicinity of Tehran, where they conducted patrols against drones, cruise missiles, and other aerial threats, according to reports from numerous defense observers. Furthermore, sources reported in June 2026 that Iran had received an additional 3 Yak-130s based on contracts that were executed before the start of the 2025 to 2026 conflicts. The reports indicate that the transfer was part of a recurring defense cooperation program between Russia and Iran, despite the fact that Moscow has not officially confirmed the deliveries. Let us look at how an aircraft purchased for training suddenly found itself used for air defense, especially since Iran initially acquired the Yak-130 because its air force urgently required a modern lead-in fighter trainer. Iranian military pilots had been training on aircraft that were older and had been in service since the Cold War for decades. The Yak-130's introduction marked a substantial technological advancement, as it introduced a fully digital glass cockpit, fly-by-wire flight controls, and the capacity to replicate the handling characteristics of sophisticated 4th and 5th generation fighters. The majority of analysts believed that these aircraft were designed to facilitate future Su-35 operations, thereby facilitating a seamless transition for Iranian pilots to the much more capable multi-role fighter upon the initiation of deliveries. Look, plans are great on paper, but peacetime planning is rarely followed when real conflict occurs. In early 2026, Iran experienced a series of sustained missile and air assaults, which rendered every aircraft available to the country highly valuable. According to reports, Yak-130s, in conjunction with MiG-29 fighters, initiated defensive patrols over the Tehran metropolitan area, rather than remaining restricted to training duties. This set the stage for an unusual combat mission, because the Yak-130 was intended for roles other than engaging adversary stealth fighters, unlike dedicated interceptors. Rather, it seems that the Iranian crews have designated the aircraft to missions that are more appropriate for its capabilities. During the conflict, open-source imagery revealed that Yak-130s were equipped with Russian R-73 infrared-guided short-range air-to-air missiles. Additionally, the aircraft is capable of carrying cannon pods and unguided rocket pods, contingent upon the mission parameters. Iran was able to maintain a greater number of fighters in the air without depleting its maintenance resources due to the aircraft's relatively low operating cost. Its subsonic performance was adequate compared to many drones or cruise missiles, whose speeds are themselves well below those of modern fighter aircraft. The Yak-130 reportedly became a component of Tehran's integrated defensive network, complementing ground-based air defenses and MiG-29 interceptors, rather than attempting offensive operations deep into hostile airspace. Now, when you look closely at the actual combat record, things turned out better than many expected. Although the Yak-130 entered the conflict with no expectation of fighting modern Western aircraft, its wartime record surprised many military observers. According to reports, the aircraft conducted numerous defensive sorties in the vicinity of Tehran, intercepting drones and contributing to the defense against incoming missiles. Although comprehensive operational statistics are still unavailable, the fleet's continued operation throughout the majority of the conflict suggests that the aircraft remained operational despite the repeated attacks on Iranian military infrastructure. In comparison to single-engine trainers, the Yak-130's twin-engine configuration also provided an additional layer of survivability. Rapid turnover between sorties was facilitated by its digital flight control system, reliable engines, and relatively straightforward maintenance requirements. We are just getting into the most intense part of this breakdown. Coming up next, we are going to look at the exact details of the only confirmed shootdown involving an advanced fifth-generation stealth jet and how the rest of the fleet managed to evade destruction. You will want to hear how these small trainers outsmarted complex targeting systems, so stay right here. The Yak-130 was capable of conducting extensive local air defense patrols, which allowed more capable aircraft to be allocated to missions that necessitated greater speed, range, and radar capability. In contrast, costly frontline fighters were reserved for critical missions. Interestingly, public records indicate there was only one confirmed combat loss throughout these intense operations. The Yak-130's wartime experience was perhaps most remarkable, not in terms of the missions it flew, but in terms of the number of survivors. Public reporting has been limited to a single confirmed combat loss. An Iranian Yak-130 was brought down by an Israeli Air Force F-35I during operations over Tehran. From a purely technical standpoint, the outcome was hardly surprising. The F-35 is a stealth multi-role fighter that is among the most advanced in the world. It is equipped with modern beyond visual range weapons, long-range detection capabilities, and potent sensors. In contrast, the Yak-130 is a subsonic trainer that is designed for light attack missions and pilot instruction. Therefore, it is inaccurate to directly compare the two aircraft, as they were developed for wholly distinct purposes. One is a fifth-generation stealth fighter that is priced at well over $80 million per aircraft, while the other is an advanced trainer that is capable of performing limited combat duties. What attracted greater attention among analysts was the fact that the remainder of Iran's Yak-130 fleet reportedly survived repeated waves of attacks and continued flying throughout much of the conflict. This raises an important question. Why did most Yak-130s survive when major airbases were being hammered? The Yak-130's survivability may have been influenced by various characteristics. The Yak-130 is capable of operating from relatively impoverished airfields, such as semi-prepared runways and unpaved strips, in contrast to large strike aircraft that necessitate significant airbases. This adaptability complicates enemy targeting by minimizing the necessity for aircraft to remain concentrated at a limited number of large airbases that are readily identifiable by satellites. Iran has also dedicated decades to the development of military aviation camouflage measures, subterranean facilities, and hardened shelters. Rather than being stored in exposed areas, aircraft are dispersed across multiple locations. This approach seems to have reaped rewards during the conflict. Despite numerous strikes on Iranian military infrastructure, the bulk of the Yak-130 fleet continued to operate. The aircraft's visual and radar signature on the ground was further reduced by its comparatively small size, which made it more challenging to locate in comparison to larger combat aircraft. This real-world survival story proves the platform is more than just a trainer, a theme we frequently track on our channel Altitude Addicts when analyzing Russian-designed hardware. The Yak-130 has consistently demonstrated genuine combat capabilities, despite its widespread recognition as a trainer. It is capable of transporting up to 3 tons of external armaments across 9 hardpoints with a maximum takeoff weight of approximately 10.3 tons. Its combat load may consist of short-range air-to-air missiles, reconnaissance equipment, rocket pods, gun pods, and guided and unguided explosives. It is capable of conducting close-range air defense missions and counterinsurgency operations, despite its modest maximum speed of approximately 1,060 kilometers per hour in comparison to frontline fighters. The aircraft was initially intended to fulfill secondary light attack duties in addition to advanced pilot instruction, and it is powered by 2 AI-222-25 turbofan engines that have been entirely localized in Russia. The Iranian experience illustrated that these capabilities were not merely theoretical. They could be effectively implemented during times of conflict. Don't go anywhere just yet, because we are approaching the final, most crucial part of our analysis. Up next, we are uncovering the hidden production details of the heavily upgraded Yak-130M combat model that Russia just started testing, and what this means for the future of airspace defense. Keep watching, because this completely changes the light fighter market. There are profound lessons learned from the war that are currently being debated by modern air forces. The operational use of the Yak-130 is expected to be the subject of study by military planners worldwide for the foreseeable future. The conflict illustrated that not all air defense missions necessitate costly supersonic fighters. While preserving more sophisticated fighters for higher priority missions, a lower-cost aircraft can occasionally perform effectively against drones, cruise missiles, and other relatively slow aerial targets. The Yak-130 reduces operational costs compared to heavyweight fighters, allowing nations under sustained attack to conduct more patrol sorties without overburdening logistics and maintenance systems. As drones become a more prevalent aspect of contemporary warfare, aircraft such as the Yak-130 may gain new significance as cost-effective interceptors within multi-layered air defense systems. This utility explains the continued deliveries despite wartime conditions, showcasing how combat needs drive logistics. Iran's continued appreciation for the Yak-130 aircraft is indicated by reports of additional deliveries in June 2026, despite the intensive combat it has endured in recent months. Foreign observers maintain that aircraft ordered prior to the conflict are still arriving, although Russia has not officially confirmed these deliveries. Iran concurrently pursues 2 objectives through the expansion of its Yak-130 fleet. It enhances the capacity of pilot training and also provides additional aircraft that can conduct light combat and sovereign air defense missions if necessary. The aircraft's operational utility and flexibility have likely grown in confidence among Iranian commanders as a result of its wartime experience. These operational insights bring us directly to the Yak-130M's arrival, a major development we recently highlighted on Altitude Addicts. Russia has initiated testing of its much-improved successor. The first Yak-130M accomplished its inaugural flight from the Irkutsk Aviation plant on June 25, 2026. The enhanced aircraft has been equipped with capabilities that greatly increase its resemblance to a genuine light combat aircraft, as opposed to a conventional trainer. Expanded compatibility with precision-guided munitions, an advanced electro-optical targeting system, upgraded defensive aids, and a modern airborne radar are all included in the Yak-130M. Should future operators elect to use the aircraft as a combat aircraft rather than a trainer, the Yak-130M would exhibit capabilities that exceed those of its predecessors during the Iranian conflict. This is a textbook example of how real combat experience shapes future development in the aerospace industry. The Yak-130 is no exception to the rule that aircraft development has always been influenced by combat experience. Its reputation was largely established by its effectiveness as one of the world's foremost advanced jet trainers prior to 2026. It has acquired something far more valuable from a military perspective: real operational experience under combat conditions following the conflict. Maintenance records, sortie rates, survivability, weapon integration, and operational tactics can now be analyzed by engineers based on actual wartime use, rather than exercises. These learnings are expected to have a significant impact on the tactical doctrine, export marketing, and future upgrades of both the Yak-130 and the new Yak-130M, which are key topics we focus on here at Altitude Addicts. In conclusion, the Yak-130 was not transformed into a fighter that could compete with the F-35, Su-35, or Rafale in air superiority missions as a result of the 2026 conflict. Those aircraft continue to operate in a performance category that is entirely distinct. However, the conflict did illustrate that contemporary military aviation places a greater emphasis on operational resilience, affordability, and versatility in addition to raw performance. The Yak-130, which was initially designed as an advanced trainer, was inadvertently compelled to conduct combat air reconnaissance, defend one of the largest cities in the Middle East, and operate in an environment that was dominated by technologically superior opponents. Only one Yak-130 was confirmed to have been lost during the conflict, despite the fact that the fleet was confronted with one of the most advanced air forces in the world. The remaining aircraft were alleged to have continued to operate throughout the war. The aircraft's battlefield experience is a valuable source of operational data for Russia, as it can be used to inform future enhancements and validate the Yak-130M's development. For Iran, it illustrated that a platform that was initially acquired for training can be transformed into a valuable element of a multi-layered national air defense network when the need arises. The Yak-130 may ultimately be remembered as not only one of the world's most sophisticated jet trainers, but also as an aircraft that demonstrated that adaptability can be as significant as outright technological superiority in an era that is becoming increasingly characterized by drones, cruise missiles, and asymmetric warfare. We thank the people who have liked and shared the videos and subscribed to the channel. We also thank the people who have hyped the videos